Hey, this is Russ with Keller Williams. I am talking to you across a fire. And I just wanted to use this as an illustration of what it's like to represent buyers right now. It's windy, there's fire between us, we're trying to get a deal done, and quite often it becomes a counseling session with buyers to actually work for them, right? One might think that the best way to work for buyers is to get them the best deal, meaning the lowest price, which you would kind of think that means you've got to come in lower than what you would if it was listed at like 100 grand. You'd come in at 80 grand in order to work for that buyer. But the reality is that's not what happens in a market that's this strong with inventory that's this low. When something comes up that your buyers want, I often think about it in terms of what we need to do is simply get through the egos, right? There's an ego of an agent, there's an ego of a buyer on one side, there's an ego of an agent and an ego of a seller on the other side. And half the time, what we got to do is just calm everybody down and try to do a deal that is a win-win. And by the way, win-win often means that both people feel like they got screwed, right? Now, in a seller's market, extreme seller's market like right now, you don't have to do a whole lot, right? Because at least in the Lake Chelan Valley, Leavenworth, Wenatchee, depending on your price point, you got buyers lining up, and what you need to do as a buyer's agent, what I counsel our agents to do many times, is just simply talk to the buyer about their ego. And I do it like this. I'll say to a buyer, look, it's not about economics, really. And I work a lot in Chelan personally. I grew up here. I've been in real estate for 30 years in Chelan. Let's say a lot's listed at $150,000, right? And a buyer comes over and it's exactly what they want. Inevitably, they'll say to me, let's offer $130. And they're very financially capable. They'll probably write a check, right? Cash buyers, a short-term feasibility is always wise, but we can answer a lot of questions, especially if the listing agent did a very good job prepping the listing. We have a lot of these answers already, like site analysis, etc. But what I'll have to explain to them is, do you want to lose out on this deal because your ego is getting in the way of you paying full price? And if we can get it for full price, what we've done is created a win because we didn't have a bidding war. We got in early, we had a strong offer, we were very well prepared, whether that means a pre-approval letter or whether that means cash and paying the price that the seller is asking for or not. But what will happen is they'll always want a dicker, right? And then I'll have to tell them, hey, look, you're going to lose out and you're going to look back. Promise me, I've been doing this 30 plus years. You're going to look back and say, dang it, I wish I would have just bought that first one. But you're going to have to get burned as a buyer a few times. So what I'm trying to tell people is it's not about economics. It's about your ego. And what I mean by that, if it was 150 and you offered 130, guess what it would have been if it was 170? You would have offered 150, right? So it's not about the economics. That little case study right there proves it's about ego. And so what you need to do as an agent is often counsel your buyers to get it to where you don't have to cross the flame and deal with the wind. Just simply pay the price if it's the right property for you and it's at the right value. Give the seller the fact that they priced it right and appreciate it. So you don't end up in a bidding war, so you don't lose out. The market continues to appreciate and you look back in time and go, man, I should have bought that one 6 months ago. That's the one we really wanted to. Anyway, food for thought in an extreme seller's market in Lake Chelan. Cheers.